Hello everyone, this is Wojciech and I'm here with short product tip. So today I would like to talk about a concept called first time user experience. So the first interaction with your product by a user, by a customer. So before they have the aha moment, wow, I get it, right? And they stay. So this is obviously particularly important for audio products because our products come mostly from the engineering background. Look at the mixing table. Studio equipment is complicated. It's used by engineers and designed by engineers, so you need to have a lot of knowledge. And nowadays, obviously, music is produced in very different settings. Even professional musicians who are not engineers, they are exposed to digital audio workstations and plugins and virtual instruments. So it's very important we actually understand who our customer is, not to drive them away. And I remember very well my first experience many, many years ago with Cubase. After first impression, it took me a year or two actually to come back to it and try again, to master because it's such a high learning curve. And I'm just like fooling around I'm recording music. I'm not by any means a producer or a professional mixing engineer. All right, so let me just give you a couple of tips from my own experience. What you can do. So first of all, this does not the first time user experience does not actually start by when you already have a product, but purchasing experience is super important, right? So if you buy it off the internet, how easy is to order a product. Do you understand what you buy and stuff like this, right? And it's equally important for software and hardware. Then you have unboxing experience. We all know how great it is to for those who use Apple products, how pleasant it is, to unbox a MacBook or an iPhone, right? So there are also like audio products who do similarly. I remember my purchase of Zelia microphone. It was like the great box, and everything is so. It gives you this impression of luxury, and I don't mean in a negative sense. So that's it. Then obviously you have once you start interacting with the product, design workflows or like a user flow customer journeys for a specific personas, so know who's actually engaging with the product. Like I mentioned from the very beginning, is this a professional mixing engineer or this is like a bedroom producer or somebody else, maybe a musician, right? So he's also a pro, but in a bit different context, right? This is also equally important when you're, I don't know, publishing music, like a royalty distribution. I'm not a very big expert in this field. I'm more interested in the music production, but obviously those rules apply to all products, regardless of the domain. And so when people start interacting, that's important, right? The language, which functionalities are displayed, how customer is driven inside the product, so he can just get actually to get the first value out of the product. And I understand that this is again complicated because if you look at the modern digital audio workstation, it's like accumulated features over years, which is like really intimidating. So maybe it's actually having this one thing that customer actually I know it, and he's already like gain knowledge about certain area. He has this beachhead within your product, and he's not going to abandon it, right? Because he already feel like he is on control of certain activities, right? So that's the thing. You can obviously use simple tools like tooltips. Hovering with a cursor over a specific area give you some kind of tips what it is and how to use, what you can do, maybe shortcuts, stuff like this. There can be small videos as well, explainer videos. So some tutorials built into the product, so you're just guided, especially at the early stage, right? Another thing is gathering the feedback, and it can be quantitative feedback, so connecting analytical tools to your product and collect the data, and it can be also done for desktop applications, of course. and measure, for example, how much time it takes, to do certain activities. But it also can be more like a qualitative feedback, so having certain feedback forms where people can, like a score, how specific activities or workflows work in the application. It can be even using Hotjar or stuff like this, to record sessions, actually like a review how people use your product. You can be actually surprised. I am very often, right? You see, so that's, these are like a couple of tips, things you can do. By the way, as you may know me, I'm not a product designer. So, if there are some UX designers watching this, they can say, hey, that's like not in-depth enough. For most of my career, I was either product owner, product manager, product head of product, so work with the designers, hire designers, and I have great appreciation for their patience and actually, how they, they can just build great stuff. And yeah, but I think, generally, you, even as a product guy, you need to understand this concept, because it is super important to keep your customers when you attract them, right? Maybe if you are just a big company, it's not that dramatic, but for startups or for small companies, this high effort to drive customers to your product, right? Marketing, I mean, financially, and effort required, to attract it and make people sort of interested in your products. So you must to make them stay, right? Customer retention and customer churn, those metrics, right? Where people leaving and staying with your product, which is obviously leading to the financial metric called customer acquisition cost. So how much money is required to attract one customer, right? So you want to drive this metric down, right? Because you don't have to become a huge VC backed corporation, but I mean, obviously, it's we don't want to work in vain. Yeah. And last but not least, I wanted also to mention that I'm just talking about the tips more like a typical UX, related, so of the, like a design of workflow. Obviously, we can talk about as design of the application or a product as well. What material is made of, what is the generally GUI of the product. Yeah, we make decisions with eyes, right? If we see something that we like, we can also judge the product by this, right? So either we are, and also like a attracted or amazed by its great look, or we say, oh Jesus, looks like from 80s or 90s, some kind of super legacy product, right? But overall, I understand this is an important concept, and there is more material on this channel related to building and designing products. There will be also like a tutorials created by professional audio product designers, so stay tuned, subscribe, hit the bell so you can get notifications. There is plenty of content getting from people way more experienced than I am. I will see you soon, guys. Cheers.